And welcome back to the Verde Valley Experience. It's time to talk tea. Hooray! I love tea. We're here with Eileen and Dan Duran, who are co-founders of Trailhead Tea in Sedona.
Yes. Hi, thanks for asking us to
You're
talk to you.
very welcome. You even smell like tea. You smell fresh and clean and a little roasty. It's wonderful.
Well, there's a lot of different types of tea, so I'm not sure which ones you're smelling.
Yeah, you guys deal with like 130 different types of tea.
That's where we stopped counting.
Yeah, you stopped counting because really there's a lot of tea in the world.
There is.
You can't possibly have it all, but you can try.
Everything that we have in our store in Sedona is teas that we've tasted. We personally pick out, and we subject them to all kinds of, debates and stuff like that in order to make sure that it's something that we really can be proud of.
Nice.
And so, yeah, that's how we came up with the collection of.
That's how you got to what you picked.
Yep.
Now, how did you get involved in tea?
Well, we were both, as kids, exposed to a lot of tea. We both drank tea in our younger days. When we met, we got more into it, and it became more of a hobby. And eventually, we traveled to the Verde Valley, to Sedona a number of times, fell in love with the place, decided to move here, and decided that someday we'd give up our corporate jobs and have our own business. And tea was close to the top of the list in terms of something that we thought we could specialize in. So it's a hobby that we turned into a business.
The best kind. That is the best kind of business.
As I like to say, I used to be in IT. I was a project manager in IT, but now I'm just in tea.
That's great.
Now we did.
That's great. And a wonderful concept because, we think about tea. I mean, we drink a lot of tea, but there's a very big difference from the box of tea we buy at the grocery store.
Absolutely.
To a box of tea we're going to find at a tea store.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like night and day.
It is. The tea that we have in our shop is all full leaf tea, which is the best, the highest levels, the highest grades. Most teas are available in at least 3 or 4 different grades. Some types of black tea are even available in like 7 or 8 different levels, different grades.
Wow.
And the stuff that's in the grocery store is really the beginning grade, what they call dust and fannings.
Wow, get out. Dust and
It's a real grade. It's a real grade.
Even the grocery store teas have improved, but obviously they're dealing with a mass market where we are specialized.
Yes.
We call ourselves a department store of tea.
Yes.
So we have a lot of accessories in tea, but not only tea, but also a lot of herbal infusions as well. Medicinal teas, botanicals.
Yes.
I mean, they're popular throughout all of the Verde Valley, and especially in Sedona. So we have probably about 70% what we call real tea, or tea, from the tea plant, and about maybe 30% botanicals, medicinals, and herbal fruit blends as well, enjoyable blends, as well as those that are used for medicinal purposes.
Yeah, the medicinal tea craze, it's back. It's
great.
Really
it's great.
Huge, and it's wonderful, and it tastes good too,
Yeah, it's the things that are really most beneficial about tea are the antioxidants and the amino acids that are in there, and they really cooperate with the amount of caffeine that's in tea.
Yes.
Caffeine in tea is only about 1/3 of what coffee has got, but the antioxidants and the amino acids really cooperate with the caffeine that's in there to give you that really nice little gentle lift, and usually much longer lasting than the lift that you get that you get from coffee, which is usually very abrupt.
Right.
But caffeine,
then you crash.
And yes, unfortunately you do. Yeah.
But not with tea. Yeah,
not so much.
The combination makes it very bioavailable. So it's almost like they should call it something else. They shouldn't just call it caffeine anymore. They should call it life force infusion or something, to that effect, because it changes it completely.
It does.
Now tell us about matcha that's so popular right now, because you guys do a lot with matcha.
We get that question a lot, actually. People will come in the store and they'll say, "Oh, what is matcha?" And we have our best explanation is that it's a powdered Japanese green tea. Okay, it was really made. It was really popular in China, hundreds of years ago, and the Japanese picked up that phrase, or picked up that type of tea rather, and they really perfected it, and they've made it their own. It's very grassy and very green tasting, very fresh tasting. The biggest difference between matcha and regular tea is that regular tea, when you have you'll have full leaf teas that you'll have steeping in your cup, and then you extract, you take the leaves out, and you drink what's called the liquor, which is the stuff that's the steep tea. And we discard the leaves. But matcha is a green tea leaf that they remove all the stems from, and they take what's the remaining portion of the leaf that's called tencha after the stems are removed, and then they'll fine grind that between granite stones and with very, very slowly, and then when we drink it, we'll use a certain portion of the powdered tea with hot water and whisk it together, and then drink essentially the whole leaf.
So you're ingesting
Yes, you're
plant
ingesting.
as well.
So when people ask, well, what's the most popular, what's the most beneficial or healthy tea? We always have to say it's matcha.
Matcha.
That it's got, because
There's
you're
no
getting
waste.
there's no waste, and you're getting the entire leaf.
Wow.
So
That's great.
very, very.
And you've got lots of different teas from all over the world. You know, you've got all kinds of Chinese teas as well as the Japanese teas.
Yep, and India and Sri
India,
Lanka.
Sri Lanka, but we also have different grades of tea. So we have everyday grades. So it's like going to a wine shop. You know, a lot of people buy a $6 or an $8 bottle of wine, and that's a good bottle of wine these days. Some people want a special $20, $30 bottle of wine or a $50 bottle of wine, and we have teas that sort of match that as well. For example, with matcha, there's lower grades of matcha that are equally healthy, but they don't taste quite as good. But it doesn't matter because you're probably mixing them with milk to make a latte. So it's like
Or
using
sugar
a
or
liquor
honey
and a
or something.
cocktail where the liquor isn't as important.
Right.
Where if you drink something by itself, whether it's matcha, whether it's another material, it's got to be a better quality. It's a little sweeter, a little more savory. So we try to offer different grades of certain teas rather than just provide that one tea.
That's a great analogy with the wine, Dan. That's-
There's a lot of
absolutely is.
similarities with
There is.
wine and tea.
Yeah. And in our shop, you can get just a serving of just matcha at the tea bar, which is one of the things that we think we do very well. That makes it a real different kind of a store from others. Is that you can try the teas, all the teas in the shop.
That's so
You can
important.
get an individual cup. And the matcha is one of those types of things that people who haven't had the experience before will be able to be just like put their little toe in the water and just go, oh, I just want to try it. I'm
Right.
not sure if I'm going to like it, but I really
Right.
want to I want to try it. And we'll make available some very, very fine teas.
That's wonderful because that's really how you know. I mean, there's so much out there. And you go, I don't know if I'm going to like that. I mean, granted, I've
Yeah.
gotten some tea. I've gone, ugh, after,
And then it
But
sits in
this
the back
way,
of your cupboard and you
it
go,
does,
oh, I
and
wish
you
I had
stare at it and go, why did I buy that raspberry
Right.
peach foo-foo thing that I don't drink?
That I don't
So,
drink
so
anyway.
some
yeah,
people will buy a cup. Some people will do tastings, like you would
Right.
do a wine tasting.
Right, there's a flight of 3.
Yeah.
We offer a flight of 3 different teas.
Excellent.
Okay,
That's
and
very-
you get a small taste, and of each one of them, and you'll be able to. We'll give you as much information as we can about how to prepare it and how to, what the difference. What's with that water temperature? Why is the water temperature so key?
Right,
And
it is.
sometimes we'll do it where we'll purposely make a green tea with boiling water, and then we'll make it with the right temperature water, and let you do a side by side and go, oh, right, I get it. I totally get it.
Well, you folks really know what you're talking about with tea. But you went all the way to China.
That's
We
right.
did. We did.
That's how
we
serious
took
you are.
We took a trip, our first trip to China. We got there in October.
A good portion of the month of October was in China.
Wow.
It wasn't a tourist trip. We actually went there and stayed with owners and tea masters in tea factories. Learned how to make oolongs. We actually made three different style
We
oolongs.
picked it. We went from the state of just picking a basket full of
Wow.
leaves. Okay, and you get really, from having done that, you get a real appreciation for the snap of the leaf when you're picking it. Okay, and how it feels in your hand when the texture of it is really impresses itself on you when you're really doing it.
Well, plus all the complexities involved with actually processing the tea and how it affects the outcome of the tea.
Right.
So people have heard about green tea and they've heard of black tea, but there's also white teas and yellow teas and oolongs
And oolongs.
all different styles of oolongs. And so we actually went there, learned those styles, actually purchased some teas, brought some of those back to
In
add
the
to our
suitcases,
collection.
yes. Brought two back to the
Full of
suitcase.
tea. At least they weren't heavy.
Yeah, giant tea bags.
You could
yes.
fit a lot of tea in a suitcase. It still doesn't weigh very much.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wonderful. I can really see that you're passionate, and,
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
get
We had a
it.
great time.
Being a tea fanatic,
You're
I
a tea fan too.
absolutely
What's
get
your
it.
kind of tea?
I have jasmine green every morning,
Every morning.
loose leaf,
Yes.
with jasmine flowers in it, not
With the flower.
scented, but with the actual flowers in
Okay.
it. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm particular.
Different styles
Yeah.
for
And
different
then I
people.
moved to an herbal tea for the rest of the day because I'm not supposed to have that much caffeine.
Okay.
But don't tell my dog. It's like 3 cups a day of jasmine green,
Oh,
followed
yeah.
by 3 cups of echinacea, followed by at night I have
Echinacea?
ginger, and then I have
Very good.
turmeric tea. And
You're
I
an
have,
herbal
you
fan.
know,
You're
oh
an
yeah.
herbal fan. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
halfway through the day I switch to herb because I swear I drink like 12 cups of tea a day. I really do. I love tea.
The herbal teas this time of year are especially important for dealing with allergies. The ability for nettles tea is an herbal tea
Yes,
that
that's a really
that
good
we
one.
have available,
Yeah.
and you can steep that and drink that and really fight a lot of the airborne allergies.
Yeah.
Things in your eyes and
Right.
ears and throat and stuff
Right
like
now,
that.
it's
yeah.
a key time for that.
It is, it
Absolutely.
It's an early season this
It-
year,
it
so
is,
we have
I
a lot of
know.
people looking
Coming in for that.
for some relief.
Gosh. Well, looking for relief or looking for more information about tea relief. There's a pun in there somewhere. Tea and relief. Go to trailheadtea.com. Great website. Beautiful pictures of the store. It's an absolutely beautiful store located in Creekside Plaza. You guys are open 7 days a week.
Yes,
Good
we are.
for you. Check out trailheadtea.com. Dan, Eileen, thank you so much for being here and what you're
bet.
doing and the passion you bring to tea. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks very much.
And we'll be right back with more of the Verde Valley Experience, so don't go away.